The Kings are reported to be the most likely suitor for Zach LaVien. Me and Pat are going to talk a little bit about that. Plus, it seems like the Zach LaVien trade market may be on the rise, according to both Casey Johnson in a lot of ways and Joe Cowley. And then lastly, Walker Kesller is available. Is it time for the Bulls to right or wrong? We're going to talk about it all and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat the Dsigner, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast.
Whoa. Let's get the pod right, my boy. What's going on here? All right, Joel, with the buttons again. Here we go.
It's been a day. Let's run that back. And host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And my mind's because I've been fighting off John Giddey.
John Giddey?
Josh Giddey radicals all day long, bro. Like you would literally think that we traded for Scottie Pippen today, like who Scottie is today, with how people are.
You would think we traded for Larsa Pippen, how people are treating this, bro.
I mean, listen, no, I think the sad thing is I think a lot of Bulls fans would be happy if we traded for Larsa Pippen, because then they may actually have a chance. With that said, the Kings, do they have a chance at trading Zach LaVien? Kings have been listed by Jake L. Fisher as the most likely landing spot for Zach LaVien. Now, not that I believe that it's the most likely one. I do think we keep hearing the Kings' name. The deal that they are offering seems pretty reasonable. The Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, and some form of draft compensation. We don't know exactly there. But Pat, what do you think about the Kings being right now named by at least Jake L. Fisher as the most likely landing spot for Zach LaVien?
I mean, I think you have to take them into serious account, right? Like I think they're a team that clearly always wants to add offense. They're never not looking to add offense. I think that they think Zach LaVien's an upgrade over Kevin Huerter versus with the Bulls, right? I think relationship-wise, I would say Kevin Huerter's an upgrade over Zach LaVien because he comes in here definitely as a shooter. Now with Josh Giddey in the building, right? Somebody else who can space the floor on the offensive side of the ball. I think that there's a lot of good that could come from both sides of that trade. And, is it a great trade for the Bulls? No, right? Like it's not the ideal trade that you want to come away with, but is it a best case scenario trade for you right now? Yeah. And I think that's where, you talk about fighting off the Giddey radicals and stuff like that. Like that's where I think a lot of fans have a disconnect. They expect the Chicago Bulls, and I've heard this on a couple of podcasts. People think the Bulls have been operating from a place of power. That's just not the case. You're operating from a place of you've made poor decisions that have now put you in the position you're in. Your back's basically through the wall. It's not even up against the wall at this point, and you're just trying to find the best way to get out of a bad situation. That's where you're at right now. The Bulls aren't in a better spot than when Garpax left at this point. Like, yeah, you're making the ninth seed, but you're still a team that is not going to be a legitimate playoff team. You're still a team that is not going to have enough talent to get it done, and you've got questions on the coaching staff and the front office. Sounds like Garpax to me. So I think that when people are looking at a lot of these deals that could get done, they're not looking at it that the Bulls are operating from a place of 150% desperation, not at all to me any place of power. And so that's why we see the trade yesterday of Alex Caruso with no draft pick back with a Josh Giddey trade. And that's why, to me, we would probably see in a scenario like this, a deal that would feel lopsided for the Chicago Bulls, but one that does get you back a player that you think can give you some good shooting experience, space the floor for you, and help your offense in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing is that we don't – and I know this is going to be triggering for some.
Here we go.
I get it. Everybody wants to see the Bulls make trades that make them a better team right now, but it may be that that's not what their goal is right now. Not to say that Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes can't help, adding a veteran, especially if we are truly going younger. But Kevin Huerter would be another player that I think, is 24 years old, if I'm not mistaken, on Kevin Huerter? 25 years old, Kevin Huerter.
I got him up right.
25. He'll be 26 in a couple of months.
Yep.
So still a younger player, right? That you're getting younger, but at that point you're adding some type of veterans. Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter are both players that understand and know their role, and they do it well. That's it.
I don't know if Harrison Barnes does it. Well, I guess
Harrison Barnes is still effective for what he is, bro. Like, would he still average 12 points per game last year?
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at Harrison Barnes off of the bench for a season. It's an expiring deal.
I tell you what, Harrison Barnes at 32-year-old is giving more consistent production than Patrick Williams.
Well, I mean, listen, me and you have given more consistent production than Patrick Williams just doing this podcast.
I mean, but we are two of the most consistent podcasters in the world.
I mean, what are we gonna do? You know what I mean? We got to make money somehow, and damn, we're good. But no, I just think that I just think realistically speaking, right? When I look at this, the Kings deal and the position that the Bulls are in, right? You're just trying to get something back that fits with this team, and you're going into this. I fully believe this. The moves that we've made, and let me ask you this. Maybe this is me, right, being too push all your chips in on what you have on the Bulls right now. I think the Bulls are all in on Coby White being the focal point of this team.
Yes, he's the focal point of at least the offense, and they seem to be building around from what we see, and they haven't had much, but it seems like, yeah, Coby is not only a building block, but he is kind of what right now is the focal point.
If that's the case, you're looking for role players. If that's the case, you're looking for guys like Kevin Huerter. You're looking for guys like Harrison Barnes. You're looking for guys to step up that are currently on this team, like Patrick Williams, to fit in his role, right? Or develop into that star opposite of Coby White. Like, you're looking for the other pieces that can accentuate something that you already have in place. Now, do I feel like we're there with Coby White? I got some questions.
Yeah, tons of questions. Anybody who says that they don't have any questions about Coby White is drinking too much of the Kool-Aid. Just a fact.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you're and that, right, but to that point, are the Bulls drinking too much of the Kool-Aid? I love the step that Kobe took.
Yeah. But I mean, they got to build around something. The way I look at it is this: if you build around Coby White's skill set, it's a more modern skill set. It adds so much flexibility that you're still hoping to get a player better than Kobe, and you're fine. So I'm not necessarily knocking them for doing that right now. Like, I not that you're saying this, but for the people that are like, well, why build around Coby White? Oh, who else? You're going to build around Aya? You're going to build around Daly? You're going to build around Julian Phillips? You're going to build around Josh Giddey? Like, what? Either way, it's mad questions, my boy. Like, what are we talking? Not you, but for the people who ask questions.
You do have to build your team literally around something. Like, every team, even the worst teams are built around something. Detroit's built around Cade, right? Like, everything is built around something. And so I think the Bulls are making this kind of line in the sand notion of heading into 2025, which I'm going to be real with you, I'm okay with, because what did I say before? Your best option going into this season is probably, let's roll with the young guys. Let's see what we got on this team. We add Josh Giddey. We put Pat Will back in the starting lineup. Maybe we add a couple of veteran pieces to this team. Vooch is probably still here unless you can work out some miracle to get up out of this deal. And you're now, let's go see if you can win games. Let's see if you can figure this season out. If it works, guess what? Coby White's probably a good player. Josh Giddey's probably a good player. You're re-signing him. Patrick Williams, I would assume, took a step, and you've more than likely already re-signed him. So, we know what AK is on with that already. I mean, but like Ayo DeSumo's probably done something the right way to help you off of the bench, probably feeling like things went well with your young pieces. Or you suck and you keep your top 10 protected pick in a draft that's more likely to put you in a position to get a legitimate impact player than not. And especially with how this lottery goes, sucking could be the 9th or 10th seed again, and you could be right back in. Heck, Atlanta was the 10th seed, and they got the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, and that's why I say, like, keeping your own top 10. The reason why I like that the Bulls pick is top 10 protected, if the Bulls can get to place of it, is that, hey, even if you don't win the lottery, you're keeping your pick. Like, it gives you a lot of options, a lot of flexibility, especially when you're going into a deep draft in 2025. And the thing that confuses me about Bulls fans, Pat, you've been doing the show for over 2 years at this point. There have been so many Bulls fans in that time have been crying, whining, why aren't we rebuilding? We should blow this roster up. We make one trade. And now y'all, this isn't what we want. Like, you tell me a blow up, a rebuild or whatever that you got everything you wanted right away. Like, Bulls fans don't know what they want.
Bro,
You guys don't know what you want.
We should have done an episode just going through the comments in that in that tweet that everybody's freaking out that I
No, because then it would have been in Petty Roosevelt hosting the show. And I've been staying in a good place, bro. Like, it's just, I just hate stupid people. I really do. I hate stupid people. It just,
I saw you like the comment that one dude in there that was like, he's a shooting guard that can't shoot. And I was like, you think Josh Giddey's a shooting guard? That tells me all I need to know.
yeah, absolutely. Because I'm just like, yeah, Pat's right. Like, you don't have to say anything else. Like, and then all the people like, oh no, well, I think Josh Giddey's if you think that Josh Giddey is a small forward, or some people just said forward, you're just looking at his height. You ain't watched a single play of how this man plays. If you look at Josh Giddey and play basketball, and you say, oh yeah, he needs to be a forward for us. You're stupid. I'm sorry.
Hey, now I will say this. This thought crossed my mind last night. I got scared. I didn't put it on no videos or nothing, but he is a 6'8" guard.
Oh, but Billy Donovan absolutely will. I just
There's going to be some center minutes, bro.
He's already called Josh Giddey and said, hey, you're 210 pounds. You think you can put on 20 pounds over the summer? If you can, we got some power forward minutes for you. Billy Donovan's already made that call, brother.
There's going to be some center minutes for this guy. Now, I will say this. Josh Giddey, 100%. Put on the 20 pounds. I just don't want to see you play center. But you adding 20 pounds would not be bad for your game.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But anyway,
230 at point guard. I'm here for that. Let's go.
That's silly. With that said, man, next up we're going to be talking about this market for Zach LaVien maybe growing, which is something that we did not expect. But before we get into that, we got to get into a message from one of our sponsors. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It is the most fun and exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. Just pick more than or less than or 2 or more player stats and for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. With PrizePicks, you can turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a PrizePicks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick up more than or less than on 2 to 6 stat projections, and you're locked in. If you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks got you covered every week, from lowering select player stats projections on Tuesdays, which increases your chance of getting a win, to getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA. That stroke be hidden. Locked on NBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100.
That stroke be hidden?
Bro, every time, bro. It's PrizePicks. The eBay Motors read was flawless yesterday. Every time it's PrizePicks. I don't know what my brain sees about PrizePicks, and it's just like, yeah, don't read that. Why? It's there. That's exactly what happened.
Shout out to everybody in the comments that's going that's gonna be dying laughing at that stroke be hidden.
Bro, every time.
That's insane.
Every time. But with that said, Pat, Zach LaVien. Apparently, Joe Cowley says that the market is growing for Zach LaVien. On top of the Casey Johnson report earlier yesterday that the Bulls have had conversations up to with 15 teams on Zach LaVien. Is this the Bulls being desperate and just calling a lot of teams and saying, hey, we got this Zach LaVien. Do you want this? Or is it that teams are looking around, looking at what happened in the offseason, saying, no, this is still a player that flirted with being a 50, 40, 90 player at one point and still can bring some offensive firepower that some teams could definitely need?
Listen, Zach LaVien's a consolation prize, but somebody's got to get the consolation prize, right? Everybody can't get Paul George. That's really what it comes down to. And so because of that, I do think that there is a trade market. Now, when I hear the Casey Johnson report that the Bulls have talked to 15 teams about a Zach LaVien trade, that does sound to me like they called 13 teams and 11 of them hung up. You know what I mean? It sounds more like that to me than you got 15 teams actively trying to trade for Zach LaVien. But I do think that the trade market growing could be 4 or 5 teams. And we heard yesterday, right? I think Casey tweeted it out as well. Yeah, Casey tweeted it out yesterday. Developing the Bulls are in active trade discussions with the Utah Jazz and the Philadelphia 76ers surrounding Zach LaVien. I do think we had heard later in that day that Philly was out on Zach LaVien.
Yeah, we heard that.
So I don't know if that is died or not confirmed yet. But I mean, the fact that the Utah Jazz are a part of the conversation, the fact that it seems like, right, the Sacramento Kings are a part of the conversation, I think that does mean that the market is growing. Because, I mean, we were literally talking about basically offshoot teams possibly going out there and trying to go after Zach LaVine, right? We were talking about, like, or the Orlando Magic being a team that maybe wanted to get involved in a Zach LaVine trade, right? Like that to me is kind of where I think that you can say that the market is growing, and it doesn't have to be the 15 teams that possibly could be calling for Zach LaVine, which more than likely is the Bulls calling the 15 teams. I think it's more speaks to the Bulls' desperation than it does to the league clamoring to bring in Zach LaVine right now.
Did you hear about the rumored deal to send Nikola Vucevic to the OKC Thunder?
I did not. What was the deal on that?
It's Nikola Vucevic for Kenrich Williams, 2026 second round pick and a 2027 second round pick.
Don't Kenrich Williams have that bad whatever that Texas, what's it called? It's like a Texas fade or something like that. Like it's like a duck bill on the back of his neck.
Oh
basically.
My God. Yeah, I had to look to see. That's crazy.
I forget what it's called again. It's like it's Texas something. I remember.
But the funny part about that is that if we get more picks back for Vooch than Alex Caruso, Bulls fans are gonna go off.
Listen, if you get more picks for Vooch than Alex Caruso, whatever, just be happy that you got the picks. Like that's really what it is. I'd be intrigued to see how you move Vooch. That would be one that would throw me off. But just the conversation around how the trade market around the Bulls is growing. Listen, as a Bulls fan, am I going to sit here and tell you I'm excited about what the team's going to do next year? Heck no. I think that it's a team that is built poorly, that's trying to backtrack and figure out what the heck they have going on. Mm-hmm. But they're finally doing something.
Yep.
And the first move, at least me, I don't hate it. That's a step in the right direction as a Bulls fan to me.
To me, the Zach LaVine trade is going to be what confirms if we're truly going younger. It seems like that through the one deal that we've heard so far. But if the Zach LaVine deal, I think will really kind of tell us what that's going to be. Pat, do you think the end of draft day is in 5 days? Day one of the draft. They separated it out to 2 days. Thank God.
Facts.
5 days.
Just
into
9
the
hours
draft.
of Taco Bell commercials.
Is Zach LaVine a Chicago Bull in 7 days by this time next week?
I mean, listen, I think that it was pretty clear the Bulls don't want him on the team now. If you call 15 teams, you're trying to get a deal done expeditiously. Shout out T.I. Like, you don't want him on the team. So I think if there's a deal that can get done before the draft, especially if it includes draft capital, the Bulls will do that. Do I think that the Bulls are going to get a ton of draft capital from a team? I don't. I think that the exact reason that you didn't get draft picks from the Alex Caruso trade is the exact reason you won't get a ton of draft picks from a Zach LaVine trade. I'm sitting there looking at the trade. You're calling me about Zach LaVine, and you have no leveraging power, and so I can take this contract off of your hands because I'm in a better position to pay this dude to go win. But here's Harrison Barnes, here's Kevin Huerter. Yeah, you get the expiring deal, have fun. Go figure your life out. Like that's the position that the Bulls are in. That's the best case scenario for them at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I guess we'll see what happens. Did you also see it came out yesterday that this from Darnell Mayberry, though, that he says that Lonzo Ball is a buyout candidate? Do you believe that?
Is it worth it at this point? Like, sure, yes, buy him out. Like, I guess, like, let's do it. But like, at this point, like, I'm kind of intrigued to see if he can play.
You said you just want, at this point, they've made us wait long enough at this point, right?
4 years for this man to come back. Yeah. We might as well see what's gonna happen. Like,
that's crazy.
Your
daughter wasn't even talking when Lonzo Ball went down.
Bro, my daughter, well, she was born.
She was born.
She was 3 months, 4 months. By the time
and now she's going off on you about wanting food. So, like, you see how much time has passed?
That's nuts, bro. That's nuts, bro. My daughter has turned into a speaking person since Lonzo Ball went out. That's insane.
It's crazy, bro. Like I said, and there's still people who are holding out. I saw people after the trade like, oh, this trade tells me that Lonzo Ball has a dead person's meniscus and cartilage in his knee right now. He is literally the walking dead.
All right, dog. Let me now. Hold on. Before that's nuts. You know what? I'm in the Breeze studio. Flag on the play. That's crazy. That's insane, bro. Now, let me ask you this though. Josh Giddey, 6'8", more of a pass first guy. Do you keep Lonzo around this season as a let me show you how I improved my game type of player?
No. Like
Lonzo did exactly what you hope Josh Giddey can do. Offensively, I should say.
Offensively, but like, no, can we just go? We got a shooting coach in the building. We got the world-renowned shooting coach in Peter Patton here. I don't need Lonzo Ball showing nobody nothing. World-renowned.
Wait, I mean, I'd rather he go kick it. I don't get this. Like, if you can't shoot, like we got it on good authority, the guys that are good at teaching these. Why not? Why are you not with lethal shooter? Like, if you can't shoot, why are you not getting with lethal shooter? If you can't dribble, why are you not with dribble too much? Like, it's pretty much proven at this point, right?
Patrick Williams has worked with dribble too much for 2 off seasons.
Pat Williams' handles have improved. He just
You're right.
Don't shoot the basketball.
You're right.
The handle ain't the problem. Using the handle to get to the bucket to dunk on somebody and finish the dunk is the problem.
That's crazy, but accurate.
Oh man, let's do this final ad read and then get into, can the Bulls get this thing right? Can they finally right the wrong that they made? What is this, 2 years ago now?
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago. We'll talk about it right after this. But first, we got to tell you guys all about LinkedIn Jobs. When hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board, though. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which make it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate in 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats that it might not have time or the resources to hire. LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make that process easier for you. They even launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply.
All right, Pat, with that being said,
that's still the wildest thing today.
Hey, listen, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Walker Kesller is reportedly could be available from the Utah Jazz. What?
Do it.
That's it. There's no more discussion needed. All right.
What a show. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me. No, I'm just joking. Go ahead.
No, all jokes aside, what would you, depending on what it took to get Walker Kesller, what would you be willing to give up for? Because
Patrick
of
Williams,
course,
Zach LaVien.
Well, if it's Patrick Williams and Zach LaVien, they got to be sending a lot back.
Send me Jordan Clarkson.
If you can get Walker Kesller and Jordan Clarkson for Patrick Williams and Zach LaVien, I'm not mad at that at all. Jesus, like I'm not.
Here's GM of the year if he could pull that out. First off, that's a completely mythological trade. But realistically speaking, the Patrick Williams, to me, y'all know how I feel. To me, P. Will, I'm done with the experiment. I would rather have the experiment be on something that I think can benefit this team in a position that you want P. Will to excel at, that he just doesn't, right? And that's handling or running, being a rim runner.
I like how you corrected yourself there. You about to go in the dark place with that comment.
That's about to go crazy right there.
Yeah, that was about to go real crazy.
Calm down now. No, being able to handle the boards and being able to be a rim runner, right? Like that's where you want to see Patrick Williams at a minimum have an impact on the field, right? On the floor. I would rather see him, right, be the number 4 overall pick, but that's probably not going to happen. So I'd be willing to take the chance on a guy that we saw do that and then kind of get relegated to the bench for some reason. Like, that was a weird situation with Walker Kesller last season. Like, I thought he was playing well, but they kind of wanted to go a different direction with him, and it things like in their second year didn't go the way that it went his rookie year. Maybe a little bit of a sophomore slump, but it was very interesting to see them just kind of go, no, we're good on Walker Kesller. I'm glad to see that he has been made available, and I'd love to see the Chicago Bulls go out after a player like him. I think he answers a ton of the questions, and he makes it okay for you to make moves at other positions that you probably would have not made because you're taking a loss at it, i.e. Vooch.
Here's the question I'm going to throw to you. Walker Kesller or the centers that are projected to go in the area that the Bulls are drafting at this, or do you like other positions better in the draft, and that's why you wouldn't mind them going for Walker Kesller?
I think the bigs in the draft are probably the best position in this draft. Like not the best that there is, but like it's probably the best field of position that you can select from. But I'm always somebody who I like to go with the known over the unknown. We knew Walker Kesller was cold when he came in. And it's not to say that he's elite and phenomenal, but what he can do as far as being a rim runner, as far as being a shot blocker, as far as being a rebounder. What he brings. I think if you bring that in, and if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, I haven't broken down Walker Kesller NBA stats, but in his time in college, I remember that he was I believe 96% efficiency rate on pick and roll finishing at the basket.
I know he was elite in pick and roll defense and offense. He was elite in college, at least. I don't know what the NBA says.
If you got a 6'8" point guard that you just brought to the team, pairing that up with Kobe White, why wouldn't you want to pair up a guy like that with him?
Yeah.
So I would rather go with a guy like that who's got the efficiency, because I think you're focusing your star other places. And then at 11, right? Like, can you play TSJ at the 3? Can you play him at the 3?
Yeah, I think he played at the 3.
Good weight was 6'6", 230.
Yeah, I think TSJ could play 3 at the next level.
Especially if you move on from P. Will, right? Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at Walker Kesller. The thing is that he has an option year in 2025-26. Here's the thing. I'm going to be 100% frank with you, Pat. I know you're probably going to think this is overkill, and it probably is, but I don't care right now. I would still draft Khalil Ware and trade for Walker Kesller, depending on what you can get him back. You don't have to worry about your center position at all at that point.
Well, I think even with that, right, Khalil Ware, he's a pure center. I was going to say maybe you could play him and Walker at 4-5, because you really don't have. If you trade Patrick Williams, that's your 4. But I don't know.
Julian's still there in the wings. They feel confident in Julian.
But you can play Julian at the 3.
You could play Julian at the 3.
A massive lineup. I don't know if Khalil Ware can be a 4, though. Walker Kesller can't be a 4. He's a 5.
Yeah. Walker Kessler's a 5. Khalil Ware, because he can stretch out and shoot. But to me, if you play Khalil Ware at the 4, it's like the Jaren Jackson Jr. thing all over again. Now, Jaren Jackson Jr. doesn't want to play 5. I think Khalil does want to play 5, but I mean, that's not to say that you can't make it happen. I think you can with his ability to shoot. A 38% three-point shooter.
Yeah.
There's something to be said there.
It's a slow 3, though.
It is a very slow. If you're going to go Walker Kesller and still go big, I'd rather have Tyler Smith at that point.
Yeah, probably.
Because Tyler Smith is the 4 that his 3-point shooting is the thing that's legit.
Or even, right,
Tristan De Silva.
Tristan De Silva. Hey, now, I'd be in on that.
Hey,
come on.
Hey, a front court of Tristan De Silva and Walker Kesller.
Hey, now we running the rim. You know what I'm saying? That's what she said. But no, I'm not mad at that. I was gonna say even this, right? If you want to be extra, go get Kyle Filipowski still.
See, I've seen people project Kyle Filipowski and say he can play some 4. To me, while all his quickness and stuff is playing the 5, I think the moment you put Filipowski at the 4, it's gonna be barbecue chicken. But I could be wrong in that. It's not nothing that.
I feel like because of his ability to take the ball off of the rim and push the tempo, you're talking about a running lineup.
Yeah, I can see it.
That I'd be interested in seeing. But if I can get anybody, give me Tristan De Silva. If I get Walker Kesller and Tristan De Silva, hey, I don't know what the team gonna be, but we making some different noise now. Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in that.
Fair enough. Any last words, Pat, before we get up out here?
Nah, man, let's get up out of here, man. Y'all have a great weekend. Don't rampage all over Twitter for Josh Giddey trade, and whenever a Zach LaVien trade does come through, try not to kill each other. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Dsigner. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago.
I heard that there was one Bulls fan that AK went to about this Josh Giddey trade that signed off on it. And apparently they signed it super producer Joel. So I think Joel signed off on the Giddey trade. But you guys can follow me at CEO Haize. We thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. We are free to on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube. We out of here. See y'all Monday. Peace.
I heard the only question Joel asked was, would he score above 18?